Hi, today I want to talk more about how to find safe people to share with. In a previous video, I talked about how we wear masks. We don't want people to know how we really are doing because it feels too risky to share. It's very private and personal. We want to protect our reputation and our child's, and maybe we're just not ready to talk about it. And we're not sure who can really understand. And it's hard to find those people. I want to read to you a short part from my book called You Are Not Alone, Hope for Hurting Parents. And in the chapter called Fear and Worry, I talk a little bit about how to find people that I call suitcase carriers. And I'm just going to read this and talk a little bit more about that. We need to develop the skill of discerning who could carry our suitcase. This idea is from a story about a younger sister who overhears part of a conversation her father is having with her older sister about sex. She asks her dad when he will have this conversation with her, but he doesn't answer. Later, the younger sister and father are on an airplane. When they board the plane and get to their seats, the father asks her to reach up and put her suitcase in the overhead storage bin. The daughter replies, "Daddy, I can't. Your suitcase is too heavy for me." The father answers, "You're right. The suitcase is too heavy for you. I would never ask you to lift something that's too heavy and could hurt you. I love you, and I'm asking you to trust me in the same way to have the sex talk with you when I think you can handle it." For hurting parents, the suitcase symbolically holds the weight of our pain-filled story. Scary stuff. Not everyone can handle it, and that's okay. It's too heavy for most, but we only need a few people who can walk beside us to help us. Suitcase carriers. These would be the safe people we can be completely open and honest with. We can be vulnerable with. We can drop our mask that I talked about in a recent video. We can drop it and take it off and really show our true feelings. So I have a few tips in the book too about how we find those people. How can we tell who they are? Because we don't want to share with the wrong person and end up getting hurt. A few tips I offered were these. One, look for someone who already seems to be caring and interested in you as a person. Maybe they know one of your children or several children are troubled and they've seemed to have compassion for you. Preferably someone who is not single, not a parent of young children, and not a parent who has young adults or teenagers who are really successful, overachievers, doing very well. And the reason is because those people are more likely not to be able to understand. Not that they wouldn't be wonderful listeners or very compassionate, but they can't really get it. So it's riskier to share with them. I suggest looking for people who have suffered. They've been through some very hard things in their own life because they tend to be much more compassionate and understanding. They tend to have a much deeper maturity emotionally as well as spiritually. And I would look for someone who is a really good listener. They don't talk all the time, dominating a conversation where you can't hardly get a word in edgewise. And someone who you know, or you're pretty sure, they really care about you and your family. And what I suggest is when you think you've identified who one of these people could be, that you invite them to have a cup of coffee or tea with you. And when you get together, you share just a little bit of your story with your child. And then watch to see how they respond. Are they quick to offer advice or tell you what they think you should do? How well do they listen or empathize? Do they seem to be like shocked? Maybe their eyes get real big. So depending on how they respond, you decide if this could be a suitcase carrier. And so maybe you get together again, and the next time you share a little bit more. And again, you decide based on how they react and respond to you. This is what I did to help me find some suitcase carriers, and I hope it will help you. Either way, when the pain is too deep to be alone, please don't stay alone. Find a healing community. And Hope for Hurting Parents, our ministry, wants to help you. You can find us and take advantage of our many resources on our website, hopeforhurtingparents.com. And through our website, you can get a copy of my book, You Are Not Alone. And please follow us on Facebook too. Well, God bless you today, and I hope that you will find some suitcase carriers in your life.